thank you, and I'm happy to move it, and Councillor Scandrett is happy to second it, but acknowledge the people in the report when we were sitting over last Wednesday, wasn't it? And a bit of, you would have seen a bit of action happening and Josh running around like a headless chook going, oh, something's happening. Something's happening. So after our meeting, I shot round to our emergency event centre, which I have been to before, which is absolutely fantastic, and I would invite any councillor to go around and have a look. It's very good. So when we got round there, it was, we better put a state of emergency in. Now, you have to go through a process to get to this point. We've got very special people around there who are well qualified, and we sat down and I rang Mayor Sam from Selwyn and Mayor Neil from Ashburton, because he's the head man of that area, because we were, if I'd done it myself, it would have been, I could have just done it myself, no problem. But because some of the fire was in Selwyn, we purposely got Sam involved as well, which meant that Neil had to be overall involved. Neil just left work and he said, give me 2 minutes, I'll turn around, I'll sign the piece of paper, and it happened. Within 15 minutes, we had the state of emergency. Now, the best thing about that is it gives the people round at the operations centre the power to do what they do best. And as we know, they certainly have done the best, and we wouldn't be in the situation we are now without them. The fire is now well contained and coming under control, although this may take some time before it is officially extinguished. Soon, and I happen to know this, at 12:30, we're going to move into recovery mode, and John Fussell is the council's recovery manager going forward. This process will be done alongside our neighbours in Selwyn, and it will take some time to plan and consider. I don't want to dwell too long on this today, because John and the team have plenty of work still to do in the weeks in front of them to come. But a couple of things that have been raised for consideration that I want to note today: the impact of excess water charges affecting households who had to dampen their property and open up their swimming pools and the like, and also replanting affected areas and how we replant. These are things that John and his team will work through over the coming months, and he will get back to us. So I'll just ask John to come up and give us a short overview of what the recovery process looks like. But I'd just like councillors, we have a lot of our CDM, Civil Defence Emergency team in the room, so I'd just like some applause for them, please. So, where are you, John? Thank you.
Thank you to the Mayor for his acknowledgement, and as a civil defence team in council, we agree. Planning for the recovery began shortly before the emergency was declared, and the recovery team, led by CDM Canterbury, a chap called Richard Ball, along with a number of others, including Al Lawn from Selwyn, were operative through the emergency. The decision on which will be made shortly whether to end. So we've been preparing for recovery on a number of fronts. Firstly, our planning initiatives. What we do in the immediate term, short, medium, and long term. It's highly likely that major focuses on the recovery will be environmental, damaged vegetation, effect on waterways, sedimentation, biodiversity, both on public land and private land. That will be a key focus. Initially, at least, there'll be a social focus. Reaching out without annoying those affected, and making sure they are comfortable and back in their properties. Those one properties still evacuated, and supporting them. They will be going to partnership with Te Whatu Ora, and our local community development teams will have a a major role. Another focus will be on built assets because they include lifelines, telephones, repeaters, the roads, tracks, all sorts of things like that. As well as public and private built property. So we'll have a focus there. The recovery will be run in a coordinated and cooperative manner. At this stage, led by Civil Defence Canterbury, supported by Council and Selwyn. That might change as the recovery proceeds, and we focus more probably on the environmental. Expect clear communications today, immediately after any declaration. Expect collaboration and cooperation with a whole range of interested and vital stakeholders. Probably one thing we'd like to acknowledge is Ngāi Tahu and their involvement right from the start and the interest that they are showing in the process. Probably all I want to say at the moment.
Okay, so I've just got something to add to. Sorry, Councillor Johansson. I just got something I want to add on to the end of what I said and what John said. That the real heroes of the operation here are the staff and volunteers who volunteered to do things. Now, getting up every morning and dragging a hose over a whole lot of burnt ground up on a hill is not what I'd call my idea of fun. But those guys get up and do it every day in the last week, and they are the ones we need to thank as well. Right, well, I've got a couple of questions. One from Councillor Coker, please.
With the Mayor's Welfare Fund and then the excess water charging, paying for those, I was just wondering if it would make more sense just to waive those excess water charges, and I was wondering any donations, what else they might go to for the people who've been affected.
Yeah. Good question, Councillor Coker. At the moment, we are looking at the most effective and efficient way of doing that from the community who have affected, whether they need to go through a process of waiving charges. It might be easier, and we're establishing at the moment, for the bill to be produced and the Mayor's Welfare Fund cover it really quickly and efficiently from our staff and a customer perspective. We will use the quickest and most effective way.
Thank you. Yeah.
So you would just want to clarify, John, that that is one of the options. We are looking at other options about waiving it, because we don't want to have any incorrect messaging that any donations that have come into the Mayor's Welfare Fund for recovery are being spent on paying council for excess water. So we are going to, we're trying to find the quickest and easiest way, and it may be that we do it by another resolution or something else. Yep. So it's actually about the speed, but we want to make it really clear that donations to the Mayor's Welfare Fund are being used for recovery. They are not to pay a water bill to Christchurch City Council.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's very clear. Thank you, Mary. Councillor Templeton.
Thanks so much, John. Just a question on the development of the recovery plan. And I know that after the last fires, the recovery plan was really comprehensive, had some really good stuff in it, including, for example, we put on an extra staff member to help in the Port Hills recovery with planting, those kind of things in the park ranger team. Will this be done in time for our decision on the long-term plan in June? I know the last fire was larger and took longer, but the recovery plan was there kind of at the end of June.
Recovery plans being developed at the moment. I couldn't imagine the only thing that may impact was plans evolve over time, but certainly the initial very comprehensive draft looking at long-term solutions will be ready soon. I can't give a date on it because they're working at the moment, and it will involve all of the people and agencies who you'd expect to be in there to give a really good, comprehensive, long-term look to it.
Yeah. I, for one, am
we'll keep Waiharo board posted because it intimately affects them.
Yeah, thanks.
Councillor Johansson.
Yeah, thank you. I was just wondering wondering what the budget is for the response, and if we know. Appreciate it's only just happened, but is there a budget that we're using, and how do we track the quantum that we're spending, and what's the budget forecast for the recovery plan?
from the beginning of play, we opened, as we do, what's called a cost centre, and we're tracking all our costs against that. A little too early to tell, but one of the immediate tasks is to not just our response and recovery budget, but we'd like to ascertain the cost of the incident to other stakeholders and report that back as part of an immediate action plan in the recovery process. So it's underway, and from a council perspective, we've established the means of capturing that from 20 minutes before day one.
Right. So is there a cost share with central government because it was a state of emergency, or is it just us
We're
fully?
we're getting advice on that at the moment. In the interim, we are capturing our costs, and those processes are underway.
Right, and I'm just mindful that we've got a challenge with the resources at the moment to do things that we've already promised communities we will do. How are we balancing the resource required to do the recovery plan with the other things that we've already committed to doing?
We've only just started the recovery plan. It hasn't actually started until 12:30 today, and these guys will be well on top of it, and they will come to us if they need any assistance.
Sorry, I'm just trying to understand if we're putting additional resource so we can do the additional work, or if there's other things that we're currently doing that are going to get delayed
So
while we do this.
we'll come back with advice, because we can't put additional resources aside because we don't know how much resource that is. So as soon as we have actually identified the plan and quantified things, we will report back, and we will regularly report back.
Yeah.
So at the moment, there is no funding identified because there is no cost identified as such for the going forward part. But as soon as we know that, we will report back.
And John will let us know that. Okay, so I've got a mover and second for that. I'll put that motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Thank you. Very much carried. Right, we'll now move on to